wants to do a good job. Everybody, pretty much. And then, so when I got out of the Marines, I managed Teamsters right afterwards. So you can imagine the difference. Yeah. You know, so you come out thinking that everybody really cares about every job and takes it seriously. You get to a place where people do not take it seriously at all. And so it's an adjustment period. But you do get a hot shower every night.
3 hots in a car.
In a nice bed.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, or if you're a little bit nuts, a cold shower.
Other questions? From
Did you ask these guys what inspired them to join? I don't know if we asked that question.
Well, that's a great question. Question from Matt. Why did you
what
decide
inspired
to
you
join?
guys? Because service is a choice. So what inspired you to make your choice?
I want to go to war.
Want to bust on that?
No, it's just like we were at war. Why would I not go?
Right.
I'm from this like Pleasantville, totally nice place in like the planned community in Columbia, Maryland. It's kind of ridiculous not to go. I felt like I was inherently in debt to this structure, and I thought I'd be good, and they'd like me. So.
I mean, I kind of was answering that in bits and pieces. I think that my grandparents' experience in the Holocaust definitely had a huge part to it. I have family that lives in Israel. My cousin, I was telling these guys, my cousin is a week younger than me, and he's an American citizen. He would spend his summers here, and I would spend, holidays in Israel. And I saw what they had to go through when they were 18, and I'm like, I'm just going to go off to college. This is something that I care about. And if Israel didn't exist, I don't know what would be for the Jewish people. The Jewish people, and I'm not trying to preach. I'm trying to just tell you that's what inspired me. My family, ended up in America and in Israel. And Israel's not the safest place, but America's not the safest place. But they're both safe places for Jews. And the history of the Jews is pretty complicated and crazy, but we've survived, and I'm just lucky to be part of that page in history where we're strong and proud to be strong, and I wanted to be part of that team.
Yeah, I guess it was partially, patriotism. My dad's a Vietnam vet, my grandparents World War II, so. But also it was for adventure too, which I imagine is probably part of the reason why you guys are doing this as well too, right? It's boring to go straight into the next thing you're going to do for the next 30 years, right? So
wow.
I wanted to have an adventure and have some stories to tell at the bar later, So that was part of that and service. So it's a combination, something different, serving, and patriotism all rolled into one.
There's no wrong inspiration because you served. Someone else, most did, so it could be like, I want to learn how to be a clown in the Army. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, please.
So first of all, thank you for sharing your stories. Talking about having service be a lifestyle, which I totally agree with. In what ways do you feel you've incorporated that into your life now? And I guess how does that feel in comparison to your experiences in the military? Because obviously that's a very intense form of service.
In high school, I chose to visit sick people in hospitals because I had a crush on this girl, and I ended up dating her, and it was a great choice. She was my high school sweetheart, but she also, something good came out of it. I felt that in life, I did it for the wrong reasons at first, and I gained a lot out of it. So now I have knowledge that I didn't have then, and I try to use that in many ways in life. Yeah.
I probably don't do as good a job in service these days as I should, which is actually kind of a humbling reminder, which is why that's a good question. There's more that I need to be doing.
You're on the board, a service board?
Well, that's
service,
true. That's true.
When you say we sometimes go in and out of periods of greater or lesser service in our lives, we're always serving somehow. We're always doing something small or big, but...
True, but there's also smaller amounts and larger amounts of service. So,
no,
it's a good question. It's a very good question, and And you have your charities and your occasional food bank stuff, but you're right that sometimes if you're not reminded of it, you do lose focus with service being an important part of your life. So I'm actually really glad you asked that question because it kind of reminded me that I need to amp it up a little bit service-wise, except for just serving you guys by being so charming and handsome
Thank goodness.
tonight, which is a form of service.
I feel totally served. Totally served, ladies. Are there other questions? You definitely have time for one more if someone's got one. Yeah.
I mean, this is just going off of what you said about adventure. I know a lot of us, me personally, I'm kind of scared of being bored and being stuck in a room. So like, how do you keep your life adventurous now that you're back and what are your next adventures?
So a lot of it's going to be about your career decisions. So Matt and I went to business school together, and we ended up in marketing initially because my choice was because it was the least math-oriented thing, and I didn't really even know what marketing was, having gone from being the Marines to managing Teamsters in a truck depot. So I didn't even know what marketing was. And marketing is great if it's a natural skill set for you, and there are lots of jobs that are natural fit, but it was not a good fit for me at all. I was ready to jump off the building. It was so the way I did it was the way you'll do it in your careers. I'm in sales now, so I run around and I'm never in an office. I'm meeting new people all the time, I'm closing deals, and I'm out and about, and it just fits my personality. But that adventure kick, if that's your kind of personality, eventually you'll gravitate towards the kind of job that's going to be adventurous for you, and that's what you have to look around for, those adventures, travel. And you're right, though. After this experience, it's going to be an adrenaline rush for the next year, and you're going to have a million stories. Particularly, if I used to tutor in Southeast DC when I was in college. That was a long time ago, and I still have some hilarious stories from that time period. And so had some crazy adventures. So yeah, you definitely have to make sure whatever job you're going to do is going to satisfy you from an adventure point of view, and also take advantage of any extracurricular activities that are going to give you that same feeling.
Yeah, that was great advice. I think the travel thing he mentioned, I know that's a huge part of the Israeli army, that you spend your time talking about where you're going to be able to go to when you're finally done. And that travel bug stayed with me. Throughout my college education, I tried to study abroad as much as possible. My wife does not share that same love for traveling as I do, but I've inspired her to get out of her comfort zone, and she's taught me how to be a little bit more settled. So that being said, where do I see adventure? It's a really good question, and you find it in the mundane stuff, and you try to make it extra special. I mean, I play ice hockey with the same guys that I went to high school with, and we're 30, and we act stupid, and then we act like doctors and lawyers and businessmen and professionals after, and that's pretty crazy and stupid at the same time.
Noah,
Yeah.
where do you find adventure? Thrill us.
There's definitely some thrill in diversifying your adventure portfolio. Like beating up people in the ice hockey rink. I like jumping at airplanes. But I think
Skiing.
your whole life can be an adventure if you want to do something big. Nobody's going to tell you no. So over this year, you're probably going to you're going to get so many different interactions with people. You're probably going to figure out something maybe you're good at that others aren't quite as good at. And even if it's totally weird, no idea what it could be, right? But it doesn't matter what. You can figure that out, and then you can find a role out there, even if it's on your own or whatever. There's some job, there's somebody somewhere that'll resource you to do what you're actually good at. And if that means a ton of school beforehand or whatever, you just do whatever it takes to do that. And you'll have, your whole life will be an adventure until you figure that out. And then you'll get there. And then you die. You tell that to your kids. They do the same thing.
But we're living longer.
But
But the world will be a better place, probably.
Noah just said something that's really true. There's going to be a lot of pressure to get a job for the most amount of money. You'll be miserable your entire life because it's not what you're supposed to be doing. You need to make sure that whatever it is you do long term is something you actually feel passionate about, and it makes you happy. You could make money by doing what you're meant to be doing, but if you try to pass it up for something else, it's a recipe for disaster.
And you're gonna fail. if it's not right,
Yeah.
it's just not gonna work. It's just not. It doesn't matter what you do. Like there's some kind of calling. It's your job to listen to it, and you're gonna try other stuff, and it's gonna go awful, and you're gonna get fired from some job, and you're gonna be like, what, why or whatever, or like it doesn't matter. Why am I not good enough for this job? It's not. That's not the case. It's just the job needs a certain person. You're not that person.
And try foods you don't like. You try them enough times, you'll learn to
You'll
like
figure out
them,
what
and
you
they
like.
might be your
Tell your
favorite
kids.
food.
Yeah, and then also try everything.
Date a person that you might not like, and you might find out that you like them. That didn't happen with my wife.
I don't know if that's necessarily the
I
best advice.
was
might
waiting for you
retract
guys
on
to be
that.
like, what are you talking
I don't-
about?
yeah,
Do that with food.
Date
not-
someone exactly like you.
Okay, one more question.
I don't know if we had one, I think
Yeah.
that we did.
If we do.
If- I thought that
We
was
have
the
a
last
minute before
question.
the pub opens, so if there's another question, would be awesome.
Yeah,
If
that's
not,
all.
Well, yeah,
no, I was gonna say, I'm curious to know if y'all kind of were in these fellows' shoes, what organizations or causes outside of kind of service in the military are you also, passionate about? If you
There
have.
are-
There's like this I forget the name. Africa. I really like the idea of large-scale program management in Africa, like even delivering food to people who should be getting it through normal diplomatic channels and stuff like that, or whatever. Or even actually, there's a huge opportunity for human trafficking too, for guys like me, like track down people. And
Yeah, I don't know if I would best Africa, just a minefield of development
See.
sucking.
I think you guys are really
That's
lucky. I mean, I kind of wish I did something like this, and at the same time, something that I like solving the issue of homelessness and people starving on the street. I live in Manhattan, I live really well. It bothers me so bad when I go downstairs and I see somebody who doesn't know where their family is and doesn't know where their next meal is going to be, so.
so you get rid of them, right?
I'd say for me, having spent time in the Middle East, like these guys, the issue I'm most concerned about is the persecution of Christians in the Middle East. There are a lot of indigenous Christian populations all throughout the Middle East that have been there for thousands of years. They're the natives, and we're doing next to nothing to help them and preserve their lives and their homes, and so for me that's probably the biggest issue for service that bothers me.
And energy.
And energy.
Anything to do with energy.
Awesome.
I hope you guys have lots more questions, but I'd like to bring them into our home for the week, the pub. End the conversation there, if that's okay with everyone. So thank you very much for the panel section. Thank you so much, guys.